Hello, guys, and welcome to Watson Europa League Match Day 2. And I guess we learned something from Match Day 1. Alvaro and Dani, we should go a lot with the underdogs. How are you guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
Very well, thank you.
Yeah, it's true.
A lot of surprises we saw in the first match day. Is normal. The big teams rotated a lot. So let's try to grab some money in this match day 2. We are going to skip Group A because Arsenal PSV Eindhoven is being postponed. So let's jump into Group B. And here we have a very good game. We have Rennes, Fenerbahce, and with decent odds, I would say, for Rennes, 1.8 is a very good team when they are playing in Rosen Park. They had a slow start in League and Dani, but they are getting better, and they even won the first game in this group against ACCA Larnaca. What do you expect? Because, of course, Fenerbahce is a big team in Europe.
I expect goals. I expect over 2.5 goals, which pays 196. Explain you why. Because Rennes, I think they are picking themselves up after a slow start, as you mentioned. 5-0 win at the Auxerre. They scored 13 goals domestically in 7 games. And the good news is that some of the players are clicking. Guiri scored his first goal at the weekend. Sulemana having an excellent game. And, they got a lot of talent, a lot of players at the Genesio disposal, Terrier, Tait, Burigord. So, I think it is a team that obviously has strengthened in the summer. They bought Tiat from Bologna to replace Aguerd, who went to West Ham, Calimuendo, who goes from Lens via PSG to Rennes to strengthen the lineups, and a lot of interesting players. They've always produced them during these years. So only one defeat in the last 7, but this is a team that scores but also concede. Only one clean sheet in the last 7 as well. They're strong at home. When they play in the Europa League in the last few campaigns, and Tottenham Hotspurs know something about it as well. Last season, they only lost 2 of their 11 Europa League home games recently. And they play against the Fenerbahce team, which is a team that, as you mentioned, is full of talent. They couldn't nick a goal. It was over against Dynamo Kiev. I'm going to go for an over here. Over 2.5 goals, 196.
Indeed, was over 2.5 goals because they beat Dynamo Kiev with Batshuayi scoring the winner. Alvaro, do you also expect goals in Rosen Park?
Yes, I think that over 2.5 goals is good. And the reason why is because not only Rennes is scoring plenty of goals. In fact, this weekend they scored 5. They got a player, by the way, Rennes, that I think that he's one of the most entertaining players in Ligue 1, Guiri. If you go to his highlights and reel in YouTube, you will see why. But anyway, Fenerbahce is scoring quite a decent amount of goals as well. They have been scoreless only once in their last 11 or 12 games. That happened against Konyaspor at the end of the last month, at the end of August. And the truth is that they managed to get 3 points. It wasn't easy against Dynamo Kiev, but Batshuayi had to score the winning goal in his debut. Fenerbahce are going to be slightly more rested, by the way, because they haven't played this week. There is a little bit of an anomaly in the Turkish first division, but they've gone 19 clubs, the odd numbers, obviously. So, Fenerbahce rested a little bit. I don't know if this is going to be a factor at this part of the season, because normally at this stage, teams want to play more to get fitter. But anyway, I'm going to go for over 2.5 goals. Yeah, I like that one. And Rennes to win. They have been 4 games unbeaten. They are, clearly improving in comparison to the beginning of the season. So yeah, Rennes to win 1.8.
I forgot to mention, of course, guys, comment the video with us. Tell us your tips for this match day. And of course, press the like and subscribe. The other game in this group is Dynamo Kiev, Larnaca. And now let's jump into Group C because things got complicated in the first match day with Roma losing in Bulgaria. Now we have the first game is Betis, Ludogorets. That was the biggest surprise, or one of the big surprise in the first match day. Alvaro, Ludogorets beating Roma. They are top of the Bulgarian league, but playing in Seville in the Benito Villamarín is another thing. Betis are really in form. Only 1 defeat this season and was at Bernabeu. Even at the weekend, they were able to beat Villarreal, so it's a team really in form.
Yes, they were able to beat Villarreal. That game was very important for them. Both Betis and Villarreal took it very seriously because both think that they can be next season's Champions League. And Betis won it, and Betis is third in La Liga. And I did like a lot the performance of Luis Enrique, the new winger. He looks to me a little bit like Dembélé in terms of entertainment versus efficiency. I think that he's very entertaining, but so far, maybe it's the kind of player that misses many shots or does the difficult thing, but then misses the easy pass. Anyway, he gave an assist the other day, strangely, but he tried so many times. But anyway, it was refreshing to see in La Liga a player like Luis Enrique with plenty of skills and ready to make the difference on the wing. Betis is not only doing very well in La Liga offensively, despite the injury of Juanmi, who broke the ligaments in his ankle. I think that he's going to be out for the rest of the season, unfortunately. But Betis defensively is doing very well as well. They have conceded only 3 goals in La Liga, 3 goals in 6 games. So yeah, everything is working very well for Pellegrini. Pellegrini, after beating Villarreal, said, we have to make sure that we become strong at home this season, because last season at home, sometimes they weren't that strong, and I think that in the spring they lost a couple of games at home at Benito Villamarin, so Betis has to become strong at home, and I don't see them here losing to Ludogorets. I think that Betis to win and over 2.5 goals is good, 191. I'm going for over 2.5 goals because Ludogorets is scoring plenty of goals. They have scored 24 in their last 7 games, 2 of those 24 against Roma. So why not to think that Ludogorets can score maybe a goal against Betis and Betis can win the game? So Betis to win and over 2.5 goals, 191. And I like William José to score as well, because he did score 2 against Helsinki, and he will probably have plenty of playing time in the Europa League, because in La Liga, Borja Iglesias is the first choice of Pellegrini. So William José to score. If you want to go a little bit more speculative in the individual market, that doubles up your bet.
I think the value is on Betis to win, but you need to look for a high scoring, or maybe, as I thought, Betis to win the first half, which pays 186. Ludogorets were a little bit lucky against Roma. I don't think they deserve the 3 point in the end. A lot of individual mistakes from Roma, but certainly Ludogorets are confident. They won 4-0 at the weekend, and they won the last 5, and they scored, as Alvaro pointed out, in every single game this season, domestically and in Europe. If anything, they do not lack European experience, because they've already played 9 games in Europe. They started the season on the 5th of July with the preliminary rounds of the Champions League and then the Europa League. So they should be used to play at least every 3 days. But as Alvaro mentioned, I think this Betis, it's stronger. Last season in the Europa League, we saw them scoring plenty of goals home and away. I think they're going to win comfortably. Betis to win the first half, 186.
Ludogorets no defeats in the last 8 since they lost to Dinamo Zagreb in the Champions League. As Dani mentioned, they are playing a lot of rounds. Same for Helsinki, actually. Roma-Helsinki is the other game in this group. Roma must win. They bounce back in Serie A after 2 consecutive defeats. They beat Empoli. Dani, I'm sure you watched the game. Roma was convincing. They should thrash Helsinki, I guess, in the first game in the Olympico in the Europa League.
But normally Roma in the last couple of years, they've always been good against the so-called small teams. And now, where would Helsinki finish in Serie A? Towards the bottom, I would say. Yeah, probably towards the bottom. I mean, nothing to take it away, but there is a golfing class. Now, depends how many changes Mourinho does. Against Empoli, they picked themselves up. Empoli had a lot of chances. They hit the post twice. So did Roma. So they do create. They do concede a little bit. And I think against Ludogorets, thanks against Udinese, it was the individual mistakes that costed them. Let's not forget Roma still has to deal with a few injuries, obviously out with Zaniolo, Wijnaldum. They cannot make as many rotation as they want. But they are in a good team, in a good moment. I think winning at Empoli is a very good boost. And they are unbeaten in the last 19 European home games since February 2019. Those games have mostly been played in the Europa League, in the Conference League. And, they always face opposition that they should have been beaten, and they did beat them most of the times. So I think this is a tie that reminds me a lot of the Conference League tie the last season Roma played. There is a very different goal quality there. Roma win and over 2.5 goals, but the odds are not amazing, even when you put it together, 171.
How much you fancy Helsinki, Alvaro? Is kind of we are not used to see Helsinki in the European competitions, actually.
No, we are not. We are not. Even though they've been there. Look, they are the Finnish champions. Let me give you a little bit of introduction about this club. They are the Finnish champions. They are the only Finnish side to have played in the Champions League. They did it back in the 90s. They are the first Finnish side to play the Europa League in 2014, and they beat Torino and Copenhagen, by the way, in that group stage. They were in the Champions League qualifier this year. They progressed one round, but lost to Victoria Pilsen 7-1 in the aggregate. So that tells you probably, or that gives you a hint of what can happen against Roma this time. Then they had to negotiate 2 more rounds to win the Europa League. They beat Maribor, Silkeborg. Nothing very big. They are topping their table right now in their local league, and they accumulate 4 wins in a row. They are rather a low-scoring side, that has to be said. And their best scorer is Spanish-born, strangely. His name is Bojan Radulovic, but he was born in Spain. This is this side right now. I think that against Betis, they didn't just do enough to even score a goal against them. And the goalkeeper, Conor Hazard, the goalkeeper from Helsinki, did a couple of really good saves to prevent Betis from scoring more in Finland. So for this game, I'm going to go for the following. I like Roma to win at 30 minutes. That pays 183. Or Roma to win at halftime with under 2.5 goals. So a combination there. Okay. 190.
All right. I like it. Yeah, it's hard to find good odds in this kind of games. Higher odds we have in the next game because it's a very good one. Group D, Braga Union Berlin, because Braga is a classic of the Europa League. They are always doing great in this competition. They are second in the Portuguese league. They come with a victory in the first match day in Sweden against Malmo, and they are facing the top of the Bundesliga. Alvaro, perhaps because of these numbers of Braga in the Europa League, the know-how they have in the competition, they are really favorites to win this game.
They are really favorite. Braga to win 220, and personally, I could go for that, just because they've got this know-how in the competition. Personally, I could go for Braga to win here, despite them playing against the Bundesliga leader, because I think that Union Berlin being the Bundesliga leader is something a little bit circumstantial, even though I don't want to take away or take out any merit from them. But I like both teams to score as well. That pays 180, and I tell you why, because Braga has scored 21 goals in 6 league games. Only PSG has scored more goals domestically. And I think that this is a very promising prospect. And then when it comes to Union Berlin, because, for example, they've got the Bundesliga top scorer, Geraldo Becker, a player who, by the way, in the speed charts of the Bundesliga, he's up there with Alphonso Davies. So he must be difficult to stop, that's for sure. I could go for both teams to score here. I tell you that Union Berlin has been impressive, yes, but it was very disappointing, undermining, and perhaps a message in disguise, the fact that they lost against Saint-Gilloise. Because, you don't come from beating Bayern and then you do only 3 changes to that side that beat Bayern. You play against Saint-Gilloise and you lose.
Drew with Bayern.
They drew with Bayern, sorry. Drew. They drew with Bayern, and then they did only 3 changes to that starting lineup, and they lost to Saint-Gilloise. So there is a little bit of an strange message in there. I mean, maybe Union Berlin, they are top in the Bundesliga right now, but this is going to come to an end very, very soon. But anyway, there you go. They are the Bundesliga leaders. But I'm going to go with both teams to score, certainly, and Braga to win.
And by the way, Union Saint-Gilloise had the better chances in that game. They deserve to win. I'm going to go with over 2.5 goals here, 215, which is very similar to what Alvaro says. I think if he's above to score, is an over 2.5 goals game. Because, yes, as we mentioned, a lot of goals from Braga, 5 wins and a draw. They are very high-scoring game as well. Early in the season, they drew 3-3 with Sporting, and they got one of the best player that probably went unseen this summer, Ricardo Horta. I don't understand understand why he hasn't been brought by Benfica, by Porto, by a team in the Premier League. Last season, it was amazing. He started with Portugal in the Nations League a couple of games, scored at the weekend as well, scored at Malmo. Braga were really, really clinical there at Malmo as well. So I think they got a very good striker that is in form. They won 5 of the last 6 home games in the Europa League, and the last 3 were clean sheet. They won with Rangers last season as well there, and then they got defeated at Ibrox. Normally, these games are high scoring, so over 2.5 goals, 215.
Next game, Group E, we have Sheriff, Man United, and things have changed a little bit, Dani, in this game. Could be more difficult for Man United, but the game before this one is being postponed, and the one after this one is being postponed. So Ten Hag can put a better 11 on the pitch, because they had problems, of course, against Real Sociedad. They lost with Cristiano Ronaldo, Casemiro, or Maguire in the pitch. We should see the starting 11 that Ten Hag likes, no, in Tiraspol.
Let's see if it's a good thing not having played for so long, for a week. Maybe they needed a little bit more game time, a little bit more rhythm. Things were not going too bad for Manchester United. But yes, against Real Sociedad, a lackluster performance. A few players looked off, looked tired. Cristiano Ronaldo, I mean, if he's in form in that game, he scores at least 2. And actually, I tipped him to score. And it was a very disappointing performance of Cristiano Ronaldo. He didn't have a clear-cut chance. Okay, probably Ten Hag is going to put the strong 11 here, but there is the fact that this is going to be the last game for many players before they break and go with the national teams. So there could be perhaps a little bit of distraction there, knowing that they're going to be then such a long gap before the next Manchester United game. They're still leaky in defense. And I think it's because sometimes the balance in midfield is not right. They cannot keep the ball very well. You know, they made a few changes against Real Sociedad, and they lost shape. Only 2 clean sheets in the last 7. But Ten Hag in Europe, his record is good. He rarely loses 2 games in a row. Actually, I don't think he lost 2 games in a row in the last 20 European away games. So Manchester United will be looking to bounce back. A Sheriff last season were the big surprises of the Champions League, of the Europa League. They've already played 9 European games as well. They started the season very early in July. 6 of these games have been under. 3 of these games have been over. Let's see how they do when they face a stronger opposition. I think Manchester United are going to win this one, but it's such a long trip as well. It's a little bit, maybe they don't know how things are going to look like for them. So I'm not sure they're going to win it comfortably. And they're going to go for an Asian handicap in the first half, plus 0.75 for Sheriff, which pays 195, which means if Sheriff loses the first half by 1 goal margin, so if they lose 1-0, 2-1, etc., you only lose half your stake.
Sheriff are coming to this game with a 3-0 victory in Cyprus against Omonia Nicosia. Can you see trouble for this Man United that is always a question mark, especially if Ten Hag rotates the team?
I don't think that Sheriff are going to storm out there and attack Manchester United a lot, because when Sheriff beat Omonia the other day, they did it with a 43% possession, and you can see also in their numbers, in Sheriff's numbers, that they prefer to leave the initiative to the opponent. They don't take the initiative that much. So maybe this is helpful for Manchester United. Instead of finding a team or an opponent that tries to go against you from the very beginning, finding an opponent that sits back, well, can be perhaps a little bit helpful at the beginning. Then as the game goes by, if you haven't scored, then that can become very annoying. But anyway, I think that Sheriff are doing okay. Obviously, domestically, they are unbeaten in 7 games. Then they have left a few clean sheets in Europe over the last year and a half. For example, they didn't concede against Shakhtar. They didn't concede against Real Madrid, as far as I remember, at the Bernabeu. And even this season, in the qualifiers, they have managed to get some clean sheets. So defensively, they are all right against the Manchester United side that, I think that if they rotate, that's not a big issue, because the players that are coming in are really good as well. So I'm going to go here for perhaps an Asian handicap plus for Sheriff, in this case +2, that pays 182, meaning that if they lose by 2, you get a stake refund, but if they lose by 1, or if they draw, or if they win, you are getting your money. And I like the Asian handicap corners market here, because I think Manchester United are going to attack much more. Sheriff, as I said before, are staying back, leaving the initiative to the opponent. So Asian handicap corner plus 3.5 for Manchester United, that pays 191. And I am not going to the individual markets, like for example, Cristiano Ronaldo scoring, because the money is very low.
Okay, next group, Group F, we have Midtjylland Lazio. We saw probably the best game of the first match day in the Olympico. Lazio 4, Feyenoord 2 was a great performance by Sarri's men. Also in the Serie A, beat Verona 2-0, and this trip they can get the 3 points and almost be in the last 16 and forget about the Europa League. Alvaro, especially because Midtjylland, they are awful in the domestic competition. Only one victory in the last 9 games, so it's a good opportunity for Lazio to go there and grab the 3 points now that it's not that cold.
The thing, imagine you are Midtjylland and you are 8th in the Danish league. You have won 2 of the last 14 games, and the worst is still to come, because number one, you receive the visit of Lazio, and then you have to play probably back-to-back games with Feyenoord. Definitely the next game is against the Dutch side. So that's very complicated for this side. And Lazio, you know, they started the competition in style. They beat Feyenoord 4-2. I think that it was even surprising that, at least to me, that Vecino scored a couple of goals, because normally he is not that kind of player, right, no, Daniele?
No, not really. Well, but he scores a lot against Lazio in his life, so he likes the Olympico.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
he's in the right place then.
Yes.
Then Immobile, Luis Alberto, I don't know if they will play in this game, obviously, but they have netted 3 goals each this season, so why not to think that Lazio can score many this time? But since they are playing away from home, maybe I'm going to stay away from the goals market, and I'm going to go for the result market. Simple, plain and simple. Lazio to win here doubles up your money. That's about right for me. 2.0.
I don't see it. I go the opposite. I go 1x. I go double chance Midtjylland, 195. I think Lazio are way better than Midtjylland. If that was played at the Olympico, yes, for sure, Lazio win with a big margin. But what I can see from Lazio is maybe a little bit of fatigue, because Sarri is not rotating as many players as he normally does. I think he trusts 13, 14 players, make a couple of changes, but up front, Zaccagni, Anderson, Immobile, they've been playing every single game. Every now and then they brought in Cancellieri, but that's how he starts. At the weekend against Verona, if you watch the first half against Verona, that was appalling. I think that was the worst 45 minutes of the weekend. Then in the second half, Lazio kicked on. They got a better quality players. They got Milinkovic-Savic, who's giving assists like if they are chocolates. And in the end, you know, they won deservedly with quality, but the start was really sluggish. There were some moments of brilliances against Feyenoord, for sure, but can they repeat it? Can they do week in and week out? I am not sure. I think this one, Lazio, would be even content with a draw. That's why I go for a 1x. They only won 1 of the last 13 away games in Europe, and last season they beat Lokomotiv Moscow, so normally they're not such a powerhouse when they go and play away. Then they won't. I don't think they might not lose it. I don't think they lose it. I mean, they're too strong to lose it. But 1x, I like it. It's 2 results out of 3, 195.
All right, the draw pays 4. I'm curious to know what our audience thinks. So tell us in the comments if you think Lazio will win, or you think, like Dani, that they can drop points in Denmark. Next group, and we have a good game here. Group G, Olympiacos, Freiburg. This is much more balanced. Freiburg is still favorites. Of course, we are talking about the second in the Bundesliga. Great surprise of the season together with Union Berlin. They also win in the first match day. Dani, but it's not easy to play in Athens despite this Olympiacos that they are, of course, weaker than some years ago. Losing as well in Nantes, we saw a great atmosphere as well in La Beaujoire.
I mean, with Freiburg and Union Berlin, for Bayern Munich, they can only fight for a place in the Champions League.
Exactly.
See if they can make it. I'm not sure. Anyway, Olympiacos drew at home at the weekend, already 6 points behind Panathinaikos. Okay, Nantes beat them in the last minute, but Nantes were much the better team. The goal that Olympiacos scored was an own goal. They only had 3 shots on target on match day 1. No other team had less shots on target than Olympiacos. They didn't really put a great performance. They got plenty of experience. Valbuena, Villa, El Nesiri, Papastatopoulos, journeyman. They've been there. They play plenty of games. It is a team that is being rebuilt, I think, and I think still they don't have a very strong identity. Usually they used to be very good at home. Even in the Champions League, they were able to nick the 1-0 victory. I don't think this is going to be the case. They only scored more than 1 goal, only in 3 out of the 11 games played so far. So they're not a very high-scoring team, and they lost the last 9 games against German teams. I think a team like Freiburg, that is up there in the Bundesliga, not by chance, is not going to go to the Piraeus and lose. Asian handicap, 0 for Freiburg, 190. So if it's a draw, you get your money back.
Alvaro, you're a big fan and a big follower of Greek football. Do you trust Olympiacos here?
Well, I've been to a couple of games. Yeah, definitely. Even though I prefer PAOK personally. But anyway, yeah, I have to say that Olympiacos, they've got a good side, a little bit experience, and when we say experience, we can say as well a little bit old, perhaps. But the truth is that they've got quality in their team, and the likes of Mbila, Valbuena, El Arabi, who is a terrific striker, or has been in Greece. I said
El Nesiri. Sorry, they plays for Sevilla. It's El Arabi, of course.
El Arabi, yeah.
El Arabi.
You also say Mbia. It's Mbila.
Villa. No, Mbia used to play for QPR and Roma. Is it?
Exactly, and Sevilla. They sign very heavily this summer because Marinakis is in this spending spree that I don't know when it's going to end. With Nottingham Forest, he got himself 21 players. In Olympiacos has changed a lot of players as well this summer too, and they started the season very poorly. And drawing against Volos like this weekend at home, it's an oddity, really. Volos is a team from a small city, 200,000 inhabitants, perhaps, in between Thessaloniki and Athens. And normally, Olympiacos tends to beat easily sides like this. They are third in the Greek first division right now, but there's nothing to. There is no reason to panic because Panathinaikos is only 4 points away. I think that Freiburg, however, they will set their eyes in this game and think that they can get a point or 3. They beat Karabakh in the Black Forest in the first game, 2-1 for them. This weekend they fell from the top of the Bundesliga. Obviously, this is not their target for the season, so I don't think that this is a massive disappointment, but they failed to score for the first time. So here there is a little bit of a warning for them. Look, I'm going to back Olympiacos here because they cannot be wrong or be bad for such a sustained long period. So I'm going to back them with reservations, obviously. So I'm going to go for an Asian handicap plus 0.25 for Olympiacos. That pays 178, meaning that if they win, you win. And if they draw, you get half a win.
It's a good game for going for Asian handicap 0 or draw no bet. If you trust Olympiacos, go for Olympiacos. If you trust Freiburg, go with the Germans because the odds are very high for both sides. And the last game we are going to analyze is Group H. We have Monaco, Ferencvaros. And with Monaco, it looks like finally they've started the season, beating Nice, beating Lyon, at the weekend. Also were able to grab the victory in Belgrade against Red Star. It's never easy winning there, Alvaro. So finally, it looks like Monaco, whose coach was under the axe already, they are starting the season and getting the results.
Yes, they are 3 wins in a row for them. This weekend they beat Lyon. I mean, that's a very difficult game to win and very significant as well, because if you beat Lyon in France, I mean, there is a holy trinity in French football, probably, which is PSG, Marseille, and Lyon right now, based on the results of the last 20 years. So if you beat them, well, you are in a good place right now. Then when it comes to Ferencvaros, they started the Europa League at least entertaining us. I wouldn't say impressing us, but entertaining, because they beat Trabzonspor 3-2. Probably at some point someone has said in that locker room, look guys, the final is in our own city, but I don't think that they believe that they're going to get to the final, especially when the Champions League sides drop in the Europa League. But anyway, we have to say that the Europa League final is in their city, and they got a player who is making the difference, a player who is not the Adama Traoré from Wolverhampton Wanderers. He's another Adama Traoré, has scored 12 goals in all competitions, and right now he is on fire. Is he gonna be enough to beat a side like Monaco? Well, let's see, but that's going to be pretty hard. So in this game, I'm going to go simply for the goals market, because I don't think that supporting Monaco in the full-time market pays a lot of money, or as much as I would want it. So over 2.5 goals, 174, considering that Ferencvaros is scoring and considering that Monaco are playing at home, why not? Over 2.5 goals, 174.
Totally the same. Over 2.5 goals. Monaco, 3 wins in a row, only 1 defeat in the last 5. They drew against PSG 1-1. We said in the previous video, is a team that sometimes is a bit difficult to read because they alternate over and under games. They got a lot of talent up front. Sometimes they don't fire, but they started with a very good front three against Red Star, and then they put in Embolo. At the weekend they put on Embolo, who came on as a sub. So they got a lot of choices up front. Against Lyon, really impressed by Caio Henrique. He had 2 assists, and a lot of chances for both teams. But yes, Monaco I think is a stronger one than Ferencvaros. And they got also good players at the back, Badiashile, Fofana, Camara. They go from Salzburg as well. So yeah, I think we'll see a good improvement from Monaco. Obviously, they had to spend those 80 million of Tchouaméni somehow, and I think they strengthened the team. Only 1 lost in the Europa League games that they played at home, whereas with Ferencvaros 3-2 against Trabzonspor. But I think this is a not true reflection of how the game went. It was a smash and grab. They had a 24 possession. They faced 23 shots from Trabzonspor. They won 3-2. I think they're gonna go to Monaco, lose, and it's gonna be a high-scoring game. Over 2.5 goals, 181.
Okay, goals at the Louis II. Then on Thursday, we've analyzed the best games we have on this match day. Dani, tell me your safe bet for this second match day.
A game that we haven't spoken about. Bodo Glimt to win against Zurich. 161.
All right. Alvaro, your safe bet?
It is very safe. Betis to win. Hopefully, it is very safe. 133.
Trust Helsinki, eh? No, sorry.
No, it was
Ludogorets. Yes. And Alvaro, your ACCA?
Yeah, it's Betis to win. Over 2 goals between Betis and Ludogorets. Lazio to win and Monaco to win. Altogether, 509.
And yours, Dani?
For me, it's Roma to win 2-0, Monaco to win, and then 2 games we haven't talked about, but I fancy Union Saint-Gilloise to win against Malmo, Feyenoord Sturm Graz, over 2.5 goals. Total odds, 7.34.
Your Belgian friend, telling you to trust.
Yeah, because he tells me all this. Yeah, exactly. And I watched a little bit of Union Saint-Gilloise against Union Berlin.
It's good to have people in the stadiums telling you what is going on. Thank you, guys.
It's good.
Well, actually, the Europa League is stopping, but see you with La Liga and Serie A. Thanks, and bye-bye.
Ciao. See you later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.